blue streak speeds by Sonic the Hedgehog, and he's zooming onto your big screen. But we're not going to talk about that yet because I don't want to drive myself into an alcoholic coma in the first 5 minutes of this podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, welcome back to the Gloves Off podcast, your one-stop shop for tier lists and bad movie reviews, or at least for this week, that's what we're talking about. And joining me today, as always, is the Miles Tails Prowers to my Sonic T Hedgehog. It's Chris EX. What's up, man?
Not too much, man. Watch me fly.
Look
I'll pull you out of some deep dark pits if you need help.
at all those Eggman's Jim Carreys or something like that.
Oh my god.
But yeah, so before we dive further into the madness, we have a couple of other people on the panel tonight. One person is currently stuck in traffic. Shout out to Long Island. That's Hangman. He'll be here momentarily. But joining us is the man behind the House of 3000, and he wants to let you all know that he loves you 3000. It's Devin 3000.
Hi guys, I definitely do love you 3000. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, and this is a pretty interesting. I don't want to say it was a kind of a dead weekend, but there wasn't anything that was with like super huge storylines, because when I kind of looked at everything, as a whole, there was a lot of events this weekend. This is probably one of like the busiest weekends in regards to crossover all year, and it kind of sucks because viewership was kind of low across the board for a lot of these big events. I don't know if any of you guys caught any of it, but I was focusing my attention. Oh, and it sounds like our next invader is popping in. Introduce yourself, good sir.
Oh, hi.
It's Hangman. How you doing, man?
I'm alive. I am home from work early, and by home I mean I'm live from Aeon Gaming, which is basically home.
So is this 2019 Hangman or 2014 Hangman brought into the future?
Actually, it's a Hangman from the 1970s.
Oh, wow!
All right.
Look at that. How about that? That's different. Unlimited pin particles.
Well, hey, welcome.
They're all
We
over
have
the place.
surprises for you.
Your mind's gonna be blown.
Yeah. So, we could talk about that's also the biggest thing this weekend. Avengers Endgame shattered box office records this weekend, but we could save that for the end of the podcast so people don't hide in fear of spoilers. So, we will talk about that later. But yeah, so I'd say the big focus this weekend, and I don't know if you guys can agree or disagree. There's two big tournaments on either side of the country. One of them being Come to Papa 3, which I believe was in honestly, I forget what part of Florida it was in.
I think it was
Orlando.
Orlando.
And then there was also the Goodwill charity for Orange County tournament happening out in California this weekend, hosted by good buddy of mine, Chase Deluxe, who put together a fantastic show. So I don't know how much of what you guys caught. So wherever you guys want to start, it doesn't make a difference to me.
So I think I heard you mention viewership across the board, kind of like on the smaller side. These are always the things I look at as someone who provides a bit of Smash content to the scene. It wasn't too bad. It was just like, it felt like those filler episodes, like that you're familiar with. It was like the episode where you watch like Goku charge up for like 20 minutes before they made like the abridged version. Where it's just like, all right, like, we're just going to listen to him yell for a minute. Like, Frieza might have some shit to say, and then we'll just catch him next week, like, throwing hands. That was kind of like what this week felt like. I don't know. Like, VG Bootcamp was the ones covering Come to Papa, so, that was obviously on the higher end of things, which was still kind of modest when you compare it to, like, what we saw last week. And I think Come to Papa was still a PGR event. See if I'm not mistaken. I think.
It was a C. I don't think it cracked B. I feel like we would know if it cracked a B tier, just because B tier is like kind of a big deal on the East Coast, I feel.
Yeah, like we talked about this a few weeks on the podcast, but what's really cool about the way that the pre PGR rankings are right now is that the tier of your event is based off of like entrance alone. So they've made C tiers way more attainable, but like things like S tiers feel a little bit more special. So I'm pretty sure Come to Papa was a C, and I am. This is the one that's had the most marketing, for at least from
They
the
had 499 entrants, so they were definitely B tier.
Okay.
Wow. Nice.
It's funny because it kind of didn't feel like a B tier. I don't know. It was It was strange. The one thing I did like about it is that that particular region being, the Orlando area is sort of like we don't see it that much. I think, especially living in the region we live in, tri-state, we've been so spoiled with like good tournaments and just seeing a lot of like activity all the time. And then it's like you kind of just forget that there's like a whole rest of the world of it. So this did have a ton of marketing. VG Bootcamp will definitely bring that with them. I think Polarity was the actual power behind the stream. Was
Yeah, they're like the local source. They're basically the you guys to
Yeah,
Florida.
yeah, and that makes sense. So like it's good to see that. But aside from that, we've been seeing this being advertised since like it's been advertised a while. We saw it a ton at like Pound being advertised, and it made sense. But I would say the biggest takeaway, even just from a viewership perspective, is we got to see Snake win again, which is now becoming a trend
I
and a
am
huge
so
pattern.
biased in this top 8. Come to Papa 3 and one of my possibly my favorite top 8 as far as character representation goes ever. We had a Duck Hunt, a Joker, a Sonic.
But
Like, how could you look at this
foreshadowing.
character roster?
yeah,
This is the most lit top 8 we've had yet.
yeah,
For all
Peach.
the wrong reasons.
Yeah, God, you got that right. So, yeah, I think, is it wrong to say the bottom line is like, well, Snake won? I mean, he was playing Duck Hunt, Raito's Duck Hunt in Grand Finals. That is kind of a big deal because Duck Hunt is sort of agreed to be towards the bottom of the barrel here for several reasons. But Raito looked kind of scary. And this was one of those Grand Finals where it's like we saw a bunch of Snake Dittos last week. We didn't need a Ditto to see a bunch of explosions and just shit flying across the screen because we got plenty of that.
Oh yeah.
All right. So while the topic of Duck Hunt is live, let me just get all my thoughts out on this because I know Dwayne, who is a Floridian commentator and also the guy who operates the Duck Hunt Discord, him and the Discord had organized to get Raito out to come to Papa 3. So
That's
you
great.
can thank all of the Duck Hunts in the world for making this one Duck Hunt come to the States to show this character is still alive. And a lot of people have slept on Raito because his results are kind of middling and he's been mostly playing Inkling alongside Duck Hunt. But I think this was a fantastic showing, and that the character is still like you have to watch out for this thing, and I'm gonna call it a thing because it's just Snake of a different flavor. If you don't know how to play around the zone that he controls, you're gonna get messed up.
Yeah, I was gonna say that Duck Hunt is pretty much just what Snake was in Smash 4, just without Snake. But I do, as we look at that clip of Raito, looks like he's about to have an aneurysm on stage. But that's also I think it's just like a thing with the Japanese players. They are very like they wear it on their faces sometimes. But not only was Raito, he got second place at his tournament to MVD's Snake. He was on winner's side of Grand Finals at one point. Like, that's absolutely unheard of. And Raito was definitely like one of the stronger Japanese competitors as the game kind of winded down from Smash 4. I believe he got 5th place at that Evo 2018, correct?
Ooh, I'd have to look that one up.
I know he got top 8. I don't want to know if he got 5th or 6th. I'm totally sure.
We're deep diving into the archives for this one.
Yeah, the deep Duck Hunt lore. But I think the one thing that I wanted to take away from this is that, and also one of the bigger topics we have on the screen right now in the tier list is that, we're about 4 months into the game now. We're at the quarter waypoint. We're on
He got 7th, by the way.
There we go. Okay, shout outs to me. Shout outs to Duck Hunt, I guess.
Hell yeah!
Let's go Duck Hunt.
He works hard. That's a good boy. But yeah, if we are on the doorstep of the summer of Smash, where things are gonna get fucking crazy, and those inflated numbers you kind of saw at the beginning of the game's lifespan, where people's these small West Bumblefuck locals are averaging like 80 to 90 entrants or whatever, and like the poor got rich and the rich got richer situation. You're gonna see a lot of that now that school's out, and now that we have big events like Smash and Splash and Shine and SmashCon on the horizon. And I wouldn't be surprised if at some point we see some semblance of people kind of try to make a tier list from this game. And I think if there's one character that's like been like red hot as of late, it's no secret that it's Snake.
Dude, yeah, because he won this tournament, which 480 entrants. That's what's that, B tier? And
Yes.
then we saw what was that, Pounds? We had Snake Dittos everywhere. And then we're starting to see other trends as well. Like we're seeing two Peaches in top 8 in this particular tournament, Mute Ace and Samsora. And Joker kind of making his first appearance because only being out a week, like that's going to take some more time to collect. But it is starting to become clear what characters are just kind of coming out on top in tournaments. And the funny thing is it's a little bit different than what people had kind of predicted early on, or sort of like were pushing. For example, like even like. Although I guess it's been a while since people talk about how broken Crom is. They talk about how broken he is in different ways now, but even characters like, of the Roy or the Lucinas or just even Inkling was like such a huge character to start. And then like you don't really see any Inklings necessarily winning tournaments, but like on paper the character is really, really good. So
Bro, people just want to be mad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not wrong. So it does bring up the topic of a tier list. So we've seen a ton. We've seen a lot of opinionated ones from top players, and a lot of that obviously comes from the perspective of whatever character they use, or even just whatever they see locally. But there has been a few trends now that have stuck, and I'm really happy to have two New York candidates in this, or representatives rather, in this call, because if anyone could speak to this, it's you guys, because New York is traditionally a region that has a ton of character variety since Smash 4. Like we've seen Pac-Mans, Yoshis, Captain Falcons, like every, there's all these characters, but yet since Ultimates began, I think everybody has a pocket Palutena, because there was at least like 5 or 6 Palutenas just on your 15-man PR. So it's like you're
5.
used to seeing 5. So that's a third of your PR is what I guess would be agreed upon as like a top tier in this game in most people's eyes. So, or pretty much everyone's eyes. I don't think anyone would deny Palutena is at least top 5. So I don't know. Where do you think this goes? Do you think these results are kind of what they are, and this is kind of where the meta's heading, or do you think this is just the early meta? Like this stuff's gonna change a lot. Like where do you guys land on all this?
I don't think that she's gonna like super cement. She's definitely top tier. She's definitely a really good character, but I think right now is just that she was like one of the quote unquote easier characters to pick up, so she has like a lot of early dominance, and people are still trying to find their ways in like perfecting like routes and strategies. So like I do think that there is going to be some anti-Palu tech. I even think like even with her as a topic, I don't think she's like even like number 1 in the game.
Oh.
Who do you think is number 1, just for the sake of reference?
I remember just like when there was some talk that people were saying like Peach is number 1, like Wolf is really good. I really don't know. Like when it comes to like when I'm streaming Xeno, like there's just like what was it? Our two most placing is Palutena and Greninja.
Those are pretty solid characters, even outside of the training area, I would say.
Greninja? Who else is playing Greninja outside of Venya?
That's it, but that's what I'm saying.
I got it.
Yeah, so like, and now like in the recent Xenos, like Dill has actually beaten all of the Palutenas, and E is doing better against Palu, just like this clip that you're showing right here, where E was able to beat Jen's Palu. Jen having the most Xeno wins. Yeah, I as far as like when it comes to like trying to figure out a number 1, I don't know. She's definitely up there.
So the thing that I've noticed is, and you kind of already brushed upon it already, saying like it's just like an easy character to pick up. There are just things like, there's reasons why the character is easy to pick up. Everything from just like Nair comboing into itself to like a deathly back air to having like, a deadly back throw that's super reliable. And I would say the funniest thing about this, while we're on the topic of Palutena is basically like Smash 4 Ness, which I've heard so many people draw the parallel.
Who said this?
So
I've never heard
who
this.
said this?
All right, well, think about it.
Someone in New Jersey, some New Jersey head has said this. How are the only people complain about Smash 4
I'm pretty sure this is something that's come out of James' mouth, in fact.
That's
and
New Jersey.
Yep, New Jersey.
Yep, yeah, that pretty much represents everyone in the state, as we already know.
Garden State stamped right on his ass cheeks.
And then even Gons himself has said it.
Ass.
We'll think about it. Being able to carry someone with just aerials, having like a side B made of fire that hits you in ridiculous places, a back throw that kills you very reliably at somewhat early percent. There's definitely a downbeat to deal with projectiles. Like there's definitely
Palutena is Sans.
Carrying the weight of a dead franchise.
Yikes.
Yeah, and here we go,
Oh,
and wishes in the chat as well, saying how the character's kind of brain dead, and that's kind of like a popular opinion. No offense to any Palutena mains out there, but it's a little bit easy bake, and I think it's the same complaints people had with like early meta Ike before everyone learned how to deal with that, or who's the other character who's like really easy to use that's slipping my mind, but in either case, like. There are definitely trends. That being said, I also know that like in Japan, I don't think many people are using Palutena at all. So I don't know.
She sees almost no usage.
Yeah, so it is interesting to see, and Japan's definitely a region where you'll see not just different from America or the other regions, but like you just see like kind of interesting character variety. For example, the duck hunt we got to watch at Come the Papa. Like I can't even think of a single American duck hunt that I've like heard of.
Well, yeah, that's the important part because we still have Ozone.
That is true. Yeah.
He dabbles in Olimar, much like Solimar, who did play Duck Hunt, but is almost exclusively Olimar now.
Oh, I know who Ozone is. Yeah, okay.
Olimar is the other character I'm thinking, by the way.
Yeah, there's a character.
There he is. Right. There he is.
I love Pikmin.
I don't know.
I'm sure you do.
I always find it really like weird to say that like. I'm not saying that Olimar is Galaxy Brain, but like for a character as easy as people want to say he is, you really don't see any Olimars.
I think it's because Olimar has the stigma still of being a lame, campy character, but I think that's just how he's been labeled over the course of Smash games, even since Brawl. I think the thing that makes him like a cut above the rest in this game, he doesn't play by a lot of the rules that everyone else does, despite having these quote-unquote campy, lamey tools. Like, a lot of what he does on Shield is a different game than a lot of other, even top tiers in this game. He's just playing a different game, and I think that's catching a lot of people off guard.
So,
but also why people aren't magnetized to playing him.
It's interesting, though, because, this is kind of one of those discussions where is like a player carries a character or does a character carry a player. Like we've even heard that now with like debatably we could say that with Omar right now based off of your current argument Hangman or even just Mirren, since we don't see a ton, but also we've seen it now with ZSS and Mars where people are like Mars is godlike and ZSS isn't that good, but like I kind of think ZSS is really good. And then,
I've been of the opinion that Zero Suit is good since day like -5, and I will die on that hill.
Well, I think it's a reasonable hill. I don't know. So there's also like the trend of like, so we're looking at Wolf on the screen, and we've seen a couple of the, like the Zach Rays of the world, and like all these people just kind of pick up the character even just to have, and there's a really just high usage rate of the character. So then you factor that in, like, does that imply anything for tier lists? Not necessarily, but one could kind of make the argument where if a character is being picked up.
Centralization is definitely a role in tier lists because you have more points to gain. You have more chances to gain wins with that character if that character is good enough.
Exactly.
Like, yeah. Just to pull back a little bit to like what I mentioned earlier about Olimar is just that like I personally think part of the reason why people don't play him, and this is the same thing in Brawl. It's actually really funny that we're kind of seeing like a really a reflection of like the Olimar play in late Brawl, but it's the only reason why it's happening in early Ultimate is because you have all the Brawl players who are really good with it, Myron and Buzz. They're literally Brawl players, so like it's like, oh my god, my strategy,
It's like riding a bike. The bike is made out of onions.
My strategies.
Not to say that like I said, like I feel like one deterrent to people picking up Olimar is one, he doesn't look that fun. He's definitely Olimar. You play Pikmin, and you're just like, yeah, all right. I never want to fight with him. But there's also, I think, like he has a somewhat unintuitive way of playing, where like you're just not used to what your regular Smash fundamentals teach you. And like you when you play Olimar in Smash, like whether Ultimate or Brawl, you're playing Olimar, not Smash.
Well, that's sort of just like the nature of the way Nintendo designs their characters, which is like a pretty good discussion in itself. But like,
I feel like Olimar was designed by accident. If we're being completely honest here,
He was a
what
mistake.
character wants to hit someone's shield because they get so much off of it? No character but Olimar. Literally no character but Olimar gets as much benefit for swinging on shield.
Can we just I was gonna say, can we just talk about for a hot second how there was professional Smash players that designed some of these characters, and then you kind of you're looking at some of the kits of these moves, it's just like who let this by? Who had a bad day at the office?
Isn't one of the players an Olimar player?
Is it? I have no idea.
No,
It's Renai, Amsa, and Earth
was
and
Earth
somebody
was the
else.
other one.
So, I think that's a really interesting point, Hangman. In terms of, you said just like a unique character and who gets that much off shield, because we're just coming off of patch 3.0.0, which essentially got rid of a lot of the big damages to shields from projectiles, and yet we still have a character that just totally eats up your shield with like a projectile, basically.
Much to Myron's dismay, he can't spam forward smash on shield. But
Oh,
up smash
good
is
for
still that
you.
good shit. Up smash from Purple Pikmin, fresh is like plus 13 on block.
Yeah, it's interesting. So and now we're getting to the point where we're seeing new characters, because we have Joker, who is a character that seemingly feels pretty balanced, especially if you take Arsene out of the equation. But then when he gets Arsene, that's like your $5.99 that you paid. Arsene, excuse me. I've not played Persona 5.
For that Persona.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess the Persona boys here are Hangman and me.
Hell yes, we are.
I played exactly one palace in Persona 5. I am obligated to talk about it, but so really quick thing. I think this would be kind of a fun thing to do since we're at the quarter way part of the game's lifespan so far. Because I remember we did an initial reaction video. I think like the first or the initial reaction podcast when the game first came out back in December, where we kind of broke down what characters on the surface look kind of shitty, what characters look really good, vice versa. So I think we can do I think it'd be fun if we kind of went around and or what characters that we think were going to be bad ended up being a lot better than they are, and vice versa.
All right, I think that's reasonable. Before we get off the topic, before we jump to that, the one thing I was thinking is just how much of a difference there is between the debated top tiers and just the unanimous bottom tiers. Like the bottom tiers are unanimous, including like Mac and Doc and basically the people you'd say, but Kirby. But the thing is
I can contest this notion, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah. So with that in mind, though, when it comes to choosing who you think is going to be good or bad, you see a game that gets sped up, and you see a character like Captain Falcon even drop several tiers, despite sort of being there, even in Smash 4, with just quick movement and just ridiculous things he could do, to seeing kind of a not good, basically the new mechanics of Ultimate did not really help his kit in any way as much as it helped other people.
You think Falcon is worse in this game compared to Smash 4?
I don't think he's worse. I just think everyone else is a lot better.
Yeah,
you think Falcon is relatively worse?
I think according to the general consensus tier wise and just overall usage and seeing it, I think watching Nick C play Falcon makes me think that this character is really good, and maybe people haven't.
Example.
Well, of course, because he's the example. Because who else have you seen? Because even Fatality doesn't. I don't think he solos that character anymore, does he? Because I haven't even really seen much of Fatality.
I know that Fatality ate shit at Pound. He got 97th or something like that, and he's always kind of been the one you look at. And I think Nick also falls in that category too. When Nick traveled and took Smash seriously, he would have good flashes in the pan. I.e., I think back famously, he's one of the back when he beat Esam, it was still cool to beat Esam. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Nick
are we implying that ever stopped being cool?
I think people just forgot.
Yeah, I think people forget how good of a player Nick actually is. But I don't know.
Nick entered, I think, 4 Xenos. And he
won 2.
He won 2 of them, and he top 3'd the other one other one. Only one of them did he not do well, and I think that was 9th. And considering Xeno is getting 100+ still, Ninth is not bad.
Especially
I'm
for
saying.
someone who's like not playing the game all that much or really grinding out events. But like, I don't know. Like the mark has been in this particular example fatality, and it's just like he's kind of just fallen off. And I didn't realize he even entered Come the Papa, but he did and didn't do well there. So not that you could take one player as your example, but I guess that was sort of my pick for characters that I thought you might see more of. But I don't know. Who do you guys see as
Well,
different when the game started to now?
I am
I
glad.
was able when the game was coming out and we were figuring out the mechanics without even fucking playing Kirby. I knew he was gonna be fucking trash. So uh,
I mean, he was tasked to
go
save the world. He didn't really have to be
go
good.
me.
He's got
Yeah,
a big
he's just
heart.
tired. He's just fucking tired.
Yeah, like that was a lot for that guy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you
Fucking
do bring up
trash.
an you bring up an interesting point, Chris, because that's actually something that I've been thinking about. But like, when this game was coming out, everybody kind of was thinking about like, oh, I don't know who's gonna be good out of like the bad characters from Smash 4, but like people assumed that like Sheik was still gonna be like a top tier, and Diddy Kong was gonna be a top tier, and Day -12 Meta Knight should be banned, and all this stuff.
Oh my God, I remember that.
Those are good
Dude,
times.
he was literally up a NATO baby. He was gonna take it home. Like, oh my god.
Like, what happened, bro?
Like,
Back
I
in high
was-
school, you was the
honestly,
homie, bro.
Like, that was like the most like mixed feelings of like morbid of like just like watching this happen and like his combo being up a NATO, and I'm just like, oh my fucking god, it's what year is it? It's 10 years in the past now. What is happening? I'm
It's
getting
all right. It's all right,
flashbacks
Devin.
here.
Ariel
PTSD
is not
striking
down.
in.
I can repeat, Ariel is not down. That character's kind of meh.
Ariel is down. Press it while I'm jumping up. Hit the B button like I don't give a fuck.
It turns out we actually ended up getting Meta Knight from the 1970s and not from
Good.
2008.
Yeah, dude.
It's becoming a
But,
pattern.
Yeah, but
That shit was fucking killing me. That was hilarious. Oh, a character that actually was really pleasantly surprised because it is one of my mains was Pokemon Trainer, because like
yeah,
I played Trainer for fun in Brawl, like because I was a Kirby main, and like okay, just for reference, like Kirby in Brawl was better than he was in Smash 4, and which is infinitely better than he is in this game. Anyway, and so like Pokemon Trainer was like my for fun character. I really liked him. Squirtle was like this hidden high tier that was weighed down by these two other shitty Pokemon. Even though I fucking loved Ivysaur in Brawl. Like I loved both of them so much. Even Charizard was hilarious. So I'm like really like that was something that I was pleasantly surprised that the Pokemon Trainer is actually like fucking busted, and I love it.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Actually, one thing I would like to know, just because if Wishes is still in the chat, is in Brawl, Ivysaur's up smash was the strongest in the game. Like it was like Lucas is like regular atop everybody, and then large gap it was Ivysaur up smash. So I'm curious if it's still the strongest. It kind of feels like it is, but
that move's strong.
there's some crazy ass characters.
so, and that's another thing. So, like Pokemon Trainer, right? Like that's a character that sort of has a lot of mixed opinions, especially with like a big name like Leffen having so many opinions on the character as one he was trying to pick up for a while. I don't even know where he is, if he's still playing.
He's in a better
Trainer
place.
or not, or-
He plays Roy a lot now.
Leffen's main thing, if I recall correctly, was that Pokemon Trainer is really good, but Pokemon Trainer is also much harder to play. Why am I going to try harder if I'm just playing to win?
Yeah, I mean, when you could just chain together a few nairs and call it a day. So that's sort of the point, though, right? So now the things I've heard in this conversation tonight have been, okay, so there's characters that are considered top tier because they're easy to use, and then we've even seen results locally. Then I see like, well, then there's characters that are basically not easy to use, but have the tools to be a top tier. And then there's just like people who use all the same character, like your wolf. So I guess falls in that same initial category of just being easy to use. So
And then there's me, Richter Belmont.
yeah, just getting gimped at zero
Just
by
your-
like
I actually kind of thought that Richter was gonna be better than he is. I don't know. I thought his range was actually gonna be like really good. Like it is good, but like I thought it wasn't. I didn't think he was gonna be as exploitable as he is. He's a solid ass character, but he is worse than I thought.
I've like never wished a character got like the Luigi treatment more than I did Richter Belmont, but that's a tale for another day.
Oh,
But
we talk about how fucking happy I am what happened to Luigi.
Hell
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah.
So okay, so then here we go. This
Break
is
all his fingers individually.
dude. So this is interesting too, right? So then you just see characters that like you had like players like Elegant, who was so well known in Smash 4, maining a character like Luigi, and then Luigi just basically becomes worthless in a competitive meta, and kind of Elegant drops off. So it's just there's been so much like
I feel like Elegant's only dropped off on like the global Smash scale because
at the local level, he's still really good.
yeah, he's like I feel like he just hasn't traveled. Like, look, as much as I want Luigi to fail, you know, I think Elegant might still be a threat, but I'm not. I don't know his life story. I don't know if he's just busy and not traveling, or maybe he is traveling again, completely fucked up. Which good.
Yo, I'm
kind of like
for
this.
Luigi
Yeah, this is good.
I'm here for the ASM.
Dude, so
Let me just get an hour of Devin talking under his breath about how much he hates Luigi.
Bro, break his hands, and what is it like? And like, I'm so glad that they also shattered Sonic's kneecaps.
Oh,
poor Sonic.
well, they'll have
He'll
a
be
dish.
out of physical therapy soon.
The consolation prize was getting your own Universal Hollywood movie, I guess.
Okay,
Which-
we can.
That's not true. Pikachu's pretty damn good in this game,
Yeah,
and his
okay.
movie's looking pretty all right.
Yeah, but his like younger counterpart is debatably better, I
I
guess.
was trying to see Detective Pikachu the day before Xenosaga. Let's fucking go.
I might be about it.
I'm
but
about this.
Before I guess we can kind of wrap up our minds about the tier list. Chris actually did bring up a good point. Like there's characters that like, I think my general consensus of it so far is that there's characters that when I look at the character roster right now, I see that they're good, I just like I shake my head in the saddest way. Because I'm just like, I never thought that they'd make, like, I kind of expected it with Pichu. I didn't think they'd make Pichu the joke character for 2 straight games.
I
But,
know.
like-
I was super surprised at Pichu being good. That was.
I called that from a mile away.
No.
Interesting.
I am the master of hot takes when it comes to this game. Like, I'm waiting for my turn in this rotation because I made some wild predictions that all came true. Like, all but one came true.
All right, so go off a little bit, Frank. What's your
All right.
what's
So
your
I
stance
called
so far?
I called that me sword fighter would be a relevant gimmick. And that's exactly what he is. He is the
He
most
is.
gimmicky character in this game, and people know it. I called that Sheik would fall off hard, which unfortunately she did. Although there's signs of life in her after the most recent.
Is there
update.
though? Is there signs
Yeah,
of life?
Yeah, the character functions.
Well,
That's-
that's a
Does
good
she,
step.
though?
Yeah, does she though?
Yeah, I called that Pac-Man to be all right, and
I'm
He
so
is.
upset that Pac-Man is like high tier, probably.
like he's undeniably a good character. He's not.
Pac-Man
great.
is literally just bad Pikmin, and like you're like fuck, man.
Bad pick.
I had called that Palutena would be a decent character, and I feel like that's an understatement for where she sits in the current meta.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And the one wrong call that I made was that I thought Wolf was going to be ass.
Yeah, honestly, I thought that too
I
because
kind of thought so too, especially because he was the only Star Fox character who didn't get the I can up B out of side B.
yeah, and then like
Just
you
like we copy pasted him from Brawl. Hold that shit, Wolf. Ha ha ha.
no, and then you like look at his back air, which was like kind of his like bread and butter like neutral tool in Brawl, and then
Yo.
they made it like slow, and everyone's just like, "Yo, I don't even want to play this character in friendlies." And then it's like,
When I
yo,
heard
wait.
he had a frame 13 back air, I was like, this character ain't shit. This is great.
Dude.
Oh no.
So, I think
was wrong.
and Wolf has sort of like been like the replacement to Sheik for a lot of people who used to play Sheik. At least I've seen that on a local level. I think it's just like the quick movements and
The
things.
forward air playtest.
Yeah, yeah, basically. So
yeah,
you know,
it's like if Sheik and Cloud moved into an apartment in Greenpoint and they could have a dog, it'd be Wolf.
So, and that's the other. Now that you bring up Cloud, and I think I just saw a tweet from Tweak saying how he wishes Cloud was busted, but he's just not. And the thing is that people replace their Cloud desire with like Roy or Crom, So it's just like you're kind of just seeing certain characters get shuffled around in a current meta, but still having them being figured out all at the same time. But yeah, 4 months is a good amount of time of letting the results speak, I would say.
I just personally find it really weird that I live in a world where Diddy Kong isn't an oppressive top tier.
Oh yeah, we haven't even
I
brought up
find
Diddy
that
Kong.
so strange.
Diddy Kong is like borderline bad because basically all of his once kill confirms and things that used to reliably like win games for him just don't do it anymore.
I love listening to you Smash 4 kids talk about Diddy.
Devin, you're the biggest Smash 4 kid there is.
What the fuck does that even mean?
Oh man.
I'm just hearing oh yeah, Diddy oppression. Yeah, okay.
All right, we get it. 2 Bananas, 2008, 1970.
Yeah, dude. Never forget.
Yeah.
All right.
Talking about Brawl just for a moment, one character I just want to highlight is completely non-existent. Toon Link. Did anybody forget that Toon Link is part of the roster?
Kinda.
To be fair, good.
Now that is a fair statement.
That's it. I don't really dislike Toon Link. It's just that playing against Toon Link, in Smash 4 and in Brawl, you're just wow, we're really just gonna run, huh? Yeah, all right. Thank you for the items. I get it. That's it. So good.
Yeah, and Young Link has been a character that I guess replaced him, but is unanimously considered great, but you don't see a lot of results.
Young Link is the embodiment of the Twitch emote baby rage.
Yeah.
As a streamer, and Young Link plays, all you hear is that's all you fucking hear.
Oh shit.
Hey, listen, if it makes you feel any better, Toon Link, they replaced all of the sound effects for his sword with whip noises.
I hate that. It's like how whenever I play against Ike, I feel like I'm getting hit by water balloons exploding. When I play Toon Link, I feel like I'm getting whipped by a wet towel or something.
Yeah, it sounds like a wet noodle when he hits you. It's worse. It's almost as bad as the sour spot of Roy's sword, which sounds disgusting to me. But I kind of want to bring this around a little bit to the tournament results from the weekend, because I know the Goodwill thing was invitational, but obviously the people who get invited are really good at this game. Void being the one who won. And actually both these tournaments this weekend, the main ones, both ended in bracket reset. One was game 5 in the second set, and I think the other one was just game 4. But either way, pretty good tournaments all around. But yeah, so you got to see Pichu at the top of the board, Fox, who's debatably still pretty dang good, and then Rob, I guess. Wadi is really good, by the way.
Fox is godlike, and Rob is hilarious, and is better than he probably should be. But go Dill, bias.
Yeah.
I hate that character.
Oh, believe me, I do too.
Yeah,
if there's any character that needs a mass exodus from being played, it's Rob.
I just hate that I feel like whoever designed this game has a personal vendetta against me, because every character that I couldn't stand playing in a previous Smash game, be it Ike, Oreo, or Rob, went from being this tutti fruity gimmick character you'll run into once every couple of months to the meta, and I'm just I want to fucking go home.
But look at this though. We got patterns now, right? So it's Pichu at the top, then you got a Fox, you got a Rob, who's kind of that weird character who just may be hilarious, but will kind of pop up in a top placing, and then back to ZSS, Greninja, we were talking about earlier, another kind of replacement for Sheik. Here's Pikachu, Fox, Snake, Dr. Mario, I guess. That's who Lewis plays, right? That's kind of
Louis Money, baby.
Louis Money
is Doc.
And then I don't know who Amadeus or Luco play, but I know Pelka's another Snake.
They all three of those players you just mentioned play Snake.
Well, there you have it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm sorry, 4. Excuse me.
I'm waiting for Pelkas Falco to come back, man.
Yo, word.
Because he wasn't originally a snake main. It was just because he's in his blood and it's where he's born in New England. That's just what happens. You're born with a grenade in your hand, but sometimes you put it down. And pick up the reflector.
Rumor has it Mike Ray came out of the womb.
Oh my god, yeah, definitely.
Your solid lore goes deep.
So we have that on one end, and then we have Come the Papa, which has another snake at the top of the board. And I know this was the initial topic that Koopa came up with before we started, was like, yo, let's talk about Snake being a top tier. And we're definitely seeing it now.
That is definitely America's ass, by the way. That's where the name of the homage for the title comes in.
Is Snake's ass America's ass?
Yeah, I think so.
But it got nerfed.
So, dude,
all Snake's ass is America's ass.
Who does Vinny G play? I actually did not
Snake.
Snake.
So it's funny you mentioned that.
Yes.
Bring that up because like the one pattern that I see with Snake mains, it's all like old hat. I don't want to use the term like old hat like a bad sense, but like it's all Snake mains that played Snake in Brawl.
Yeah,
think,
man.
I like you look at the results, like Allies winning tournaments, like MVD's winning tournaments, Salem is placing well at these tournaments. Now that he's been playing primarily Snake.
Salem wasn't a Snake. He didn't really play Snake in Brawl.
He played Zeros.
He's a Brawl player. That's the point.
I mean, no, that's totally fair. That's totally fair because it was just like all the Snake mains coming back. It was just like, oh man, Snake's coming back. I can't wait for people to figure out how to juggle me.
Yeah, but I think Vinny G is like one of the top placing like snakes in that area of Florida who hadn't played Brawl.
Yeah,
or like
I
any semblance of Snake.
Name, so yeah.
Yeah, no, he was doing really well, and up until some unfortunate technical snafu, he was on the cusp of beating MVD, but them's the breaks.
Yeah, that was a tragedy.
Also, I'm just realizing that Larry Lur does use Wolf now. I kind of forgot about that.
He plays Spacies. He definitely plays the game. It's as much as I can say about him.
See, like, his name used to be Does Everyone Hate Falco? And it worked out because DEHF still, like, Fox's name still starts with an F. But now if he's Wolf, DHW?
He's the It's like that noise you make when like you're wearing socks and you step in something wet.
It's also like that noise you make where if you're like a bumbling TV host for like a construction TV show back in the 1990s.
Cool man Taylor.
It's a sound you make when you do that too.
Oh man, things that I didn't think would get referenced on this podcast.
Well, dude, I mean, we're about to get into like terrible movie reviews because I got the perfect segue because there was actually a Sonic in a top 8 this weekend, so that is something.
Yeah, shout out to my Manson.
That's like, so unfortunate.
Hey man, listen.
I'm not trying to see Sonic do well in this game. I'm trying to see him get patched out, honestly.
Well, guess what? Sonic just overcame Sam Soares' Peach.
You shut your mouth, all right? You shut your mouth right now.
And he lost a blank.
That matchup is cheeks, by the way. I fucking hate Peach in this game. God damn it. Fix my stupid blue hamster, please.
So I want to talk about a stupid blue hamster.
You know how you fix him? You snap his neck.
Oh shit! Do you think that it's gonna happen in the movie?
Oh my god! All right, so let's
I hope he goes supersonic, and
I would love
literally just occurred.
Snap a CGI hedgehog's neck. I'm definitely paying $12 for that.
Yeah, you got to do it in 3D. You haven't done 3D IMAX for that.
The movie will be an absolute platinum hit, or whatever the hell what goes good for movies and shit. Is if he goes supersonic and they just flat out just play Live and Learn. That's it. Just
yeah. So I feel so it's been on the layout for the last like hour and change.
God.
Let's oh god.
Look at this guy. He looks really fast
I don't
though.
want to.
He looks really fast.
So the trailer for the Sonic the Hedgehog movie came out today. What's everybody's initial reaction? Let's start with Frank.
This is mine.
Jim Carrey is going to save this movie.
I mean, I think he's the biggest appeal. That I think he's the one takeaway that people have like had that they're like, all right, we're okay, I guess.
I am going to unironically buy a movie ticket for this movie with no shame, knowing full and well that it is at best going to be a 3 out of 10 movie, purely because of Jim Carrey.
So
he is that 3 out of 10. Everything else is the missing points.
I wish I could play the trailer, because I can't, because I'm gonna get get flagged for copyright in 2 seconds.
We're gonna get sent to fucking jail.
Not even in 2 seconds. But it's interesting because there's like this movie's made by, it's like a pretty big, who's like the producer of this movie? I'll just look it up.
It's from the people that made I don't know if it's produced by the people or directed by the people that made Fast and the...
Yeah, like it's this is like a Hollywood movie. Like a full on, and it's funny because you even see like the actors. Like I didn't know this guy's name until right now. Like James Marsden. Like this guy is like your exact guy you would have in like a movie that you just want to be like a solid C, like acceptable. Because he's showed up with like cartoon characters before in like other movies. I think he was in like an Easter movie with like a cartoon rabbit.
Hop.
Yeah, there we go. He's in Hopped. He was he's in like another one too. I can't think of. He was like,
You're gonna find out he was a child star in Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
God.
He was an extra in Alvin and the Chip.
Yeah, dude, he played Cyclops in X-Men. Like he's been around, and he's like definitely the most like friendly face just to put like he's. I bet you anything, he probably just plays some bumbling human who just gets carried by Sonic the entire movie. Like, that's probably his character, and it makes sense.
So he's Sora from Sonic X?
I guess that's him, dude. Okay, I mean, look at him, dude. Like, you've seen him in movies. Like, it's just like his part. He's typecast.
Oh, man.
That's
crazy.
But, in the same breath.
That's definitely the face of a dude that almost steps on a Smurf.
What does that mean? God.
Oh, God.
Shut
I mean,
up.
listen. All right, I'm going to go off on my tangent really quick before I fucking lose my mind, because I've been watching this all day trying to, like, make it feel better. I think I'm in the same boat as everybody else, and I put my tweets on my thoughts on Twitter. Like, I love Sonic the Hedgehog. Nobody wants this movie to be not a steaming pile of shit more than me. But the one thing that I was hinging my hope on was the fact that if Jim Carrey like looks the part and acts the part, I will be totally okay with it. And from what I saw in the trailer, honestly, I'm okay with, because it kind of harkened back to like classic Jim Carrey when he's like really like slapsticky and lanky, like from like Liar Liar and like Bruce Almighty and like all those really good comedy movies of like the late 90s and early 2000s. Like, I'm like 120% on board with that. And when I saw the initial picture posted yesterday, I was like, okay, like this is fine. And then you kind of get that little thing thrown in at the end of the trailer where he's like Baldy McNosehair Dr. Eggman, like, with the bald hair and the big bushy mustache and the glasses. So I think I hope there's going to be some sort of like time dimension warping between actual Sonic Land and like real fake Sonic Land, if that makes any sense.
Well, yeah, because here's the pictures right here.
You just mean generations?
Because he
Generations.
Yo, and he's actually he's a dickhead in the trailer too. He's just like really mean. So he's
to be fair, Robotnik is kind of a dickhead in like all media for Sonic.
Yeah, but like the way he was going into this like soldier was like kind of aggressive.
Sonic Boom Eggman is amazing.
That is true.
So yeah, and then you get Jim Carrey in this movie, who's like obviously a huge star, and like it's not like we haven't seen Jim Carrey do like really weird animated stuff before. We've seen him in Dr. Seuss movies like The Grinch, and then we've seen him like play like God for like a month.
Yeah, Lemony Snicket.
Yeah, like it's just like, you know what I mean? Like he's definitely that out there personality to kind of make it work. But I don't know, man. Obviously the movie looks like a big meme to me only because the trailer music was Gangster in Paradise, and I just can't quite figure that out.
I think that was the most surreal part of the trailer.
It felt like I thought I was being pranked.
It looked like hot trash, and the dialogue was going to be garbage. But that song is definitely like the highest sense of dissonance I've felt watching a trailer ever.
I just don't get it. Like I don't know what the connection is to like to like Coolio and Sonic and just running fast and gangster shit. Like I don't know what this is. It has to do with Sonic in any way, but
What does it
like
mean?
I don't know, man. Maybe it's some deep subliminal stuff we're supposed to pick up on, and like
No one knows what it means.
no one knows, dude.
It's
I saw
illusion, like,
I saw Weird Al was a little upset that someone rip off Amish
that
Paradise,
tweet was
but
so. That was so good.
can't blame him really. Here, I'll find it.
Yeah, Weird Al was just like, I can't. I'm not sure how they feel about them using a parody of Amish Paradise, Sonic the Hedgehog.
There we go.
Ah,
I found it.
I love.
That's layers, yo.
Yeah, so I feel like there's like some very deep psychology behind the Sonic movie.
So here's the question I want to pose to you guys. When we look at this movie comes out what, November, like that?
Yeah, November.
So like when we look at it in the big scheme of like, what's the best case scenario? Like what's the most mediocre, like passable video game movie that comes to mind for you guys?
Wait, like the most like adequate? Like, are we talking I watched it?
You mean that's like not Wreck-It Ralph?
Yeah, like what's the best case scenario for this movie? Because like Wreck-It Ralph, in my opinion, and like I guess the Resident Evil films, but like those aren't really like based off the Resident Evil games.
Real with you guys?
Yes.
The only way that this Sonic the Hedgehog movie is salvageable if it's close to like the Street Fighter film, the one that stars Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Oh.
If it is on that level of hammy, with a very good actor serving as the villain with memorable lines, then we're set. Everything else can go to shit, but it'll at least be memorable as being a good drinking game.
What was it? The day of your father's death was the worst
day
day of your life.
Is the most important day of your entire life. But to me, it was Tuesday.
Yeah.
I love that monologue more than some of my family members.
Yeah.
So like, cause like I think when I think of worst case scenario, what comes to mind is things like the Super Mario Brothers movie. Even though I love that movie, but I understand, like it's just not a great film in retrospect.
You mean John Leguizamo just didn't do it for you? Young John Leguizamo?
You know, John Leguizamo refuses to talk about this movie.
That's understandable.
He does interviews.
Understandable, thank you.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I feel like. And it's really funny that we get this because we did tease about it before we made the transition. But like Detective Pikachu comes out next week, and from all I've been seeing, Detective Pikachu looks like it's gonna like set up to be a really good movie. So
It'll be all right. Yeah.
I don't know. Is that as like Hollywood as like Sonic is? Is this also made from like? I would assume so because Nintendo's attached to it. I don't know. I don't even know who's making this movie.
They got Ryan Reynolds voicing Pikachu.
Yeah, that's a pretty big deal.
That sentence speaks for itself.
Pikachu might say "fuck." Like let's take this into consideration for a second. But like I don't know. It's weird that like because like you look at what a video game movie can look like. And like I look at something like that, and then you look at things like Assassin's Creed that came out, and that was kind of panned by critics. And then I think back to like Prince of Persia and like old movies like that came out or stuff like that. So I don't know. I feel like if with the right like tender love and care, this movie could be like okay, but it's all hinged on the fact of how strong Jim Carrey's shoulders are.
I
I
personally think that Sonic fans are going to hate the movie, and human beings are going to think it's okay.
I mean, as a Sonic fan, I'm obligated by law to go watch it, so I'll let you know how much I...
Oh, no, and you're also going to be obligated to hate it, but it's fine.
Yeah.
So,
but as long as Jim Carrey's like, okay, I'll be all right.
So I think I'm just thinking of like you were asking what the best case scenario is for like this movie being a video game movie, assuming all the other movies. Like, there's been a lot of video game movies. I don't know if Scott. It doesn't. This is a manga. I was gonna say Scott Pilgrim versus the World is one that rings something in my mind where that movie is actually really good.
Fun fact: I detest that movie.
That's really crazy. That movie's
I don't
good.
like it. It's all right.
All right. Well, we're all entitled to our opinions,
even if they're wrong.
Even if they're wrong, I was gonna throw that in, but but like, I don't know. Do you guys remember like the Mortal Kombat movie like way back when?
Yeah,
like that movie is kind of fun. Yeah,
hilarious.
Yeah, like
I'm bad at this topic because I haven't seen any of those movies.
Like, look at this picture and tell me it doesn't look like an okay '90s movie to you. Look
That's the
at
best
look
part
at
of
Liu
the movie.
Kang, you know, Johnny Cage, like they're all there, all your friends.
All your
Look,
friends.
Raiden's there. He's like, hey, I'm here. Hello.
Yeah, then you get Bob Hoskins.
Yeah. So I think
May he rest in peace. Bob
so.
Hoskins.
I think like the best case scenario is basically like this Mortal Kombat movie to me.
Yeah, like the best case scenario is like it's the way that like Frank described it, where like it's panned critically, but like it becomes this like weird classic that's fun to like drink alcohol to.
Yes. So it's like basically like some kids in 10 years when they have their own podcasts could basically go back when they're looking at like I don't know what movie is going to come out in 10 years based off of a video game character. Let me just
Pac-Man.
Yeah, so like when the Pac-Man movie comes out in 10 years, like those kids will be able to be like, "Ah, yeah, I remember when the Sonic movie came out and it was just like it kind of sucked, but like it was pretty good too, you know?"
Oh wait,
So-
no, that's never. I'm changing my answer. Best case scenario for
Wait, you cut out a sec. What was it?
I said best case scenario for this movie is Pixel.
Oh
He
God.
keeps cutting out. I don't know if that's
It's
perfect.
He's not supposed to say it because I would never endorse that terrible movie. You mean the movie with Adam Sandler, right?
Yeah, Adam
Oh,
Sandler and
no,
Kevin
get
James.
God,
Get
no.
that trash out of here too. Oh no.
That movie was kind of about Pac-Man, wasn't it? Like
Yeah,
He's
Pac-Man
in
he was
it.
using the cover art.
He eats a car.
Yeah. like-
Hubert turns into a woman.
Oh, what the
That
hell?
doesn't-
I remember seeing ads for this.
yeah, because and that's probably it. That's all you needed to say.
When is Kubert going to be allowed to die? I don't even know any retro gamers who like that game.
He just
Until every block is another color.
that's a correct answer. But look at his just like
Let him
dude,
rest.
he just looks like anxious with his own existence. He looks like really unhappy.
You know, fun
Makes me
fact:
feel
Duck Hunt
bad.
Dog actually shows up in this movie.
Yeah, I'm aware.
So
Yeah.
and this was like supposed to be like a huge Hollywood like thing. I'm trying to remember who made this movie, but like
There's a huge flop. Does that
I
it
know.
was a massive flop, dude. People
knew-
people hated this movie. It was
Yeah,
bad.
my only recollection of like a backstory is that it was based off of an indie film, and then they turned it into something big. And I watched it, and I'm like, you know what? It wasn't the worst way I've spent $11, but it certainly wasn't.
It might be up there, but
After was a good way to spend $11 because if we're nearing the 1 hour mark, and I guess we can kind of close out with something fun. There was a movie that came out this weekend that made a lot of money, and so I don't know if I know Chris hasn't seen it, but you don't give a shit.
I don't care.
I know Devin and what's the last Marvel movie you saw, Chris? Just out of curiosity.
I think it was a while ago. I think it was like the Winter Soldier, dude.
Oh,
Good one.
Yeah,
Okay,
it was good. It's not like I don't want to watch them. It's just like if I'm by myself, I won't watch a movie. You know what I mean?
Oh, I'm 100% the same way. I don't think I've ever seen a movie by myself.
Yeah, and
Neither
like
have I.
so
I've
So
had
here's-
friends who will be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go see a movie." I'm just like, "Oh, who are you going with?" He's just like, "I'm just going," and I'm just like, "Whoa."
yeah, it's crazy.
so before we advance further, I guess we can end out the podcast by giving a quick our quick thoughts on Avengers Endgame this weekend because I know Devin and Frank saw it. So before we move on, this is your one warning. You can timestamp it here at 9:40 p.m. We're at like let's give like a quick like brief like non-spoiler thoughts on it, and then we can kind of we'll talk. This is your one warning. We're gonna talk about non-spoilers for like 2 seconds, and then we're gonna like talk about the movie in for spoileries for like the last like couple minutes of the podcast. So you've been warned. If you want to stop watching, you can stop here. We'll see you next week. You've been warned. I'm just saying.
Okay.
All right, let
you know what?
her rip.
So who wants to give their quick synopsis non-spoiler thoughts first? While I make a tweet.
Non-spoilery thoughts.
Yeah.
Rocket is still my favorite. Thor is
that is a
still
good
my
opinion.
favorite. End of list. We did it.
I think the film does not feel like you're sitting down for 3 hours. It does a good job of making the most of its screen time. That's it for spoilers.
I
For non-spoilers,
cried
I guess.
a lot. This movie is overwhelming. Go see it multiple times to make it digest easier.
I didn't cry, but I did get choked up. Where the thing where like it's like right before crying. So
Gotcha.
it definitely like made me like go like it jumped to back of my throat multiple times. Also, that same exact feeling in the opposite, where just some scenes were just so goddamn cool.
Yeah. Okay, that's the end of our non-spoiler review. Iron Man fucking dies.
And let me tell you that I'm actually really glad he did, because it
Wow.
puts a proper end cap to like how everything started with Iron Man 1.
Yeah, I agree. I think the way that they ended out like some of the storylines for like the key Avengers was really cool, because I did like that the movie focused on like the original 6. I kind of felt that's the way they were going to end it, considering how some of the Avengers got kind of shifted of screen time in Infinity War, and then everybody sans like Hawkeye, I felt like got a satisfying ending, because like we just kind of chose to accept the fact he just killed people and got off scot-free. But
Oh
like,
my god, fucking
it's fine.
Dill, who is like the most negative person of like all the Marvel movies, but will still watch all of them. He was just like, I really enjoyed the scene where Black Widow and Hawkeye fight to not be the worst character, the worst Avenger. It's just like, no, I will have something on me. No.
It's funny. Like everybody, I listened to a lot of reviews that were like, oh, like I didn't know who it was gonna be, and I was just like, I watched the trailers, and there was a scene with Jeremy Renner that, so I just knew he wasn't gonna die. But yeah, but like I felt like everything was like closed out perfectly. I really enjoyed the final fight scene in the movie.
On your
The whole,
left definitely got me.
I cried. That shit fucked me up, man. Like I just like, if you here's the way that I'll pay it off is this way. Like if you've seen every movie in the MCU, this movie rewards you perfectly, because you'll understand every in joke.
Oh my god.
Like when Cap was
the Doctor Strange part was so fucking good.
oh, like when fucking like when Cap's in the elevator with the
That
guy
scene
that looks
is one of my favorites.
yeah, when Cap's in the elevator with not Chris CX, aka Frank Grillo, aka Crossbones. And he does the Hail Hydra when when Happy and Tony Stark's daughter are at the funeral, and she says that she wants
cheeseburgers,
and the
Lord.
cheeseburgers, man, the cheeseburgers. Shout out to Frank Grillo, aka not Chris, aka Hail Hydra. But yeah, I think if there's one thing that I left with this movie feeling is that everything about like everything about Captain America, it just like felt like so sweet and a love letter. Like hearing Cap say "I could do this all day" and him getting pissed off at his past self, like just made me laugh uncontrollably.
That was great.
Watching him like
I have
go for it.
I have one question, and I guess this could be a spark of debate, maybe. So I watched all but one of the Marvel films, just throughout history. Not
Okay.
You watched
the
more
one
than
I
me.
did. The one I did not watch was Captain Marvel. Now,
Okay.
in Endgame, to me, she just feels like a glorified plot device. She does not feel like an actual character, because she doesn't do anything to characterize. She just moves the plot along. Is she like that in her own movie, and is she going to be like that in her sequel?
The way
So-
that I would you go first, Devin.
I thought Captain Marvel was the movie was really cute. Like I thought I really liked her. I thought her like her attitude, like the way she carried herself in the movie was really just I can't really word it other way than I thought the movie was just adorable. It was kind of badass. She was a badass. I will admit that she didn't have a lot of depth, and it was like like parts of the movie to me were like, and this is all saying that I enjoyed the movie, but I could there were definitely parts that it would be like, oh, you're supposed to feel this way, viewer, and I'm like, no. I do think, in lieu of all the circumstances of how like Infinity War ended, and then how the role that she played in Endgame, made it feel like she was overhyped, because she was this cliffhanger at the end of Infinity War, and then her movie comes out and she's a badass and it's a fun movie, and like you realize how strong she is and how OD she is. But then in Endgame, she kind of just like, yeah, there she is. Look, she got a haircut.
Like she took out a warship, and
Yeah, that
she
was
helped
sick.
play one of the coolest games of all-female hot potato I've ever witnessed.
That whole scene was great, but yeah,
That scene was awesome for everyone but Captain Marvel.
Yeah,
honest.
I think the way that I was, because Devin kind of summed up everything how I felt. Like, I think the problem with Captain Marvel's film in general is that it's kind of a weird like take on an origin story. Like when you meet Carol Danvers and Captain Marvel, she's already like a badass, and you get like a brief introduction to how she was before she got her powers, and like she's kind of just like this fucking like trump card like up the sleeve of Earth at the end of the movie. I personally think the way that they used her was perfect because she shows up in the beginning of the movie. They have a good reason for her not to beat her because it's like you're like, yo, the world's kind of fucked up right now. I gotta go do shit. And I was like, okay. And then I thought the way that they used her was like fine because she's like a huge issue of like power creep. Like they could have easily just like had her in the entire movie, and then like nothing would have been a fucking challenge.
No,
and
I genuinely thought that she was gonna be like a major role in Endgame because of the way Infinity War ended and with how OD powerful she was in her own movie. And I'm just like, no, yeah, because like I agree. I was gonna be like, I honestly thought she was gonna be more of a main character, and that she was gonna be like, she's basically Superman. So like,
yeah, pretty much.
I thought they were gonna like put it that she ends up saving the day because like she was the very like she's the actual first Avenger, right? She's the reason why they started. So I thought it was gonna go full circle, but it didn't.
And
they went full circles in the cinematic universe way.
Yeah. And she got damn close. Like she was about to break Thanos' hands off before she got like
that was an awesome scene. That was like so smart when he grabbed.
I actually really appreciate how smart Thanos was in the fight.
Yeah. Thanos is super smart.
He decks the fuck out of her.
I thought that was great
with that punch.
And you have to like admire the fact that that's past Thanos. He hasn't even like used the shit yet. He doesn't really know, but it just shows how studied he was, which is really cool.
He just figured out, fuck it, I'm a Celestial. This can't hurt that much, right?
Yeah. So I think the agreement is that you guys should go see this movie if you haven't already. So but I guess before we close things out, I'm gonna ask Chris. Chris, what's your favorite part of Captain America: The Winter Soldier?
Yeah.
Oh man, it's been a while. Don't expose me like this.
If your answer isn't Scarlett Johansson with straight hair, you're a fucking cop.
Scarlett Johansson with straight hair.
Great answer, man. I was gonna say this thing.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. You read my mind.
Yeah, if there's two things I'm gonna take away from this, there's three things I'm gonna take away from this. Is that Chad Thor is fantastic.
Oh my god.
I look because at the end of the movie, spoiler again, far than I feel bad for you. Thor actually joins up with the Guardians of the Galaxy, so I feel like I just got like infinitely more excited for Episode 3, and watching Cat wield Mjolnir like made me rock hard and cry at the same time.
Bro, the best line. Oh, okay. What's the best line in the movie? Because mine is melted ice cream. I'm sorry, the funniest fucking line in the movie. God.
Hulk hates stairs is really good too.
That's a good one.
I got two. I got Ant-Man pointing out that that's America's ass.
That's pretty good.
And it was in the beginning of the movie where Tony is talking and Rocket says something. He's like, up until this whole time I thought you were a Build-A-Bear. That's a fantastic line. But yeah, that's our in-depth review of Avengers
also,
Endgame.
Fortnite's in the movie, so go watch for your Fortnites.
Yeah. God damn it.
All right, Chris, write the ship before we fucking devolve into Fortnite.
Maybe it was just meant to be that way.
Maybe the real Fortnite was the friends we made.
Right. Yeah, where are we dropping, boys? I guess we're dropping to follow us on Twitter. You can follow me at CSantaZX. You can follow this podcast by following the Master Hand Gaming Twitter at Master Hand Games. And if you are enjoying stuff like this, if you kind of like spoilers, if you like tier lists, if you like tourney recaps, make sure you share the stuff with your friends. Hit the like button, subscribe. For the love of God, please subscribe. And
I'm definitely down to do a movie review podcast on an off week. I think that'd be.
Yeah, well, this was set off week, so we could definitely keep doing that. So
yeah, you can follow me.
California for the filler episode week that is Smash.
Yeah, totally, man.
That is
Like
good.
I'll take those. We take those filler episodes. We'll definitely
Yeah.
watch Goku charge up his Kai before he hits Super Saiyan 2.
Congrats to Void and MVD for winning some money this weekend. But you can follow me on Twitter at KoopaNJ. I turn 25 on Thursday, so if you want to hear me cry about how I'm halfway to 100, I mean 50.
Wait a
Fuck.
minute.
What?
You're a quarter way to 100.
Yeah, sorry, I'm
Math.
bad at math. Captain America dances with Peggy, and I cried. And yeah, follow me on Twitter there. I'm gonna be at some this weekend if you want to watch me cry and talk about Endgame more. Who's next?
I'm crying, but it's because of my allergies, not because Endgame was a solid movie. Traveling to the 1970s was hype. We saw the last Stan Lee cameo. That got me. But occasionally I vague tweet about shows and movies on my Twitter. I even vague tweet about Smash, even though I probably should regular tweet about Smash. Hype.
Follow me at Devon3000, but don't actually follow me. Just follow House of 3000. Just keep up with our cool streams. We got Ultimania this weekend in Boston, followed by Xenosaga the week after that, followed by Forge the week after that. And then I'm going to Combo Breaker, and say hi to me in Chicago.
And remember, he loves you 3000.
I definitely love you 3000. That's my second favorite line.
If
No,
you don't
no,
adopt that
actually-
line in any capacity, I'm gonna be mad.
What did you say?
You have to adopt that line.
Do you want me to just tweet it right now?
It's gonna be in his email signature for now,
Yep.
moving forward forever.
I'll just tweet it right now, okay? I love you 3000, okay?
Oh man! All right, so
Yeah, that's
from-
gonna do it.
we will catch you guys next week. Same gloves time, same off channel.
I like
Yeah.
that.
Hype
Thanks,
that.
man.
All right, we'll see y'all next week.
Bye.
Bye.